another minute and probably 30 seconds for me to get this live on YouTube. So, and we are live. Supply is here. What am I missing? Right.
Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the October 13th Planning Commission meeting. It is 6 p.m. and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Commissioner Brand will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge the allegiance. Everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I pledge the allegiance
To
to the flag
of the United States of
States of America
and to the republic
Republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible,
liberty and
and
justice
justice for all.
justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right, I need to read my statement here before we get started. Jason Spar, Chair of the Roy City Planning Commission, and in accordance with Utah Code Section 52-3-207, Subpart 4, have determined that conducting a meeting in the Roy City Council chambers presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who would be present. The basis for this determination is that due to the infectious nature and potentially dangerous health effect of contracting the COVID-19 virus, there is not sufficient space in the council chambers to provide appropriate safe physical distancing for the safety of the individuals who would be in attendance. Accordingly, the October 13th, 2020 meeting will be held electronically without an anchor location. All right, agenda item number 1 is the declaration of conflicts. Do any commissioners have any conflicts that they need to declare at this time? There being none, we will move on to agenda item 2, which will be the approval of the September 22nd, 2020 work session minutes. Do we have any changes?
Received that, therefore, and did not send it to you, so we can table that item.
Okay. Do we have to make a motion to the table that one? We can just table it.
I'm gonna let Brody answer that.
I'll make a motion to table the minutes until next meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes approval will be tabled till next session. So we'll move on to agenda item 3, which would be a public hearing to consider amending Title 10 zoning regulations, Chapter 19, off-street parking and loading, amending 10-19-2, Part 8, Subpart A, Subpart II, access to parking, residential property, drive approach, curb cut location to side property line. Before we go in, Steve, what do you have for us?
Let me share my screen and we'll. Whoops. You guys see any of that?
Yep.
See the logo.
Well, as long as you see that, then we're good. Okay, as mentioned, this is to start at the back, to amend portions of the Roy City ordinances, mainly dealing with drive access approaches, curb cuts, as they relate to property lines. As you guys know, the last couple work sessions, we've been discussing this item and potential wording and desire to amend. So just to let everybody know, this is kind of the section that's highlighted in orange is the portion or the paragraph of the code that we're looking to amend. Moreoverly, the 4.5 foot feet for the side property line where it would abut the curb. As our discussion went, there was some thoughts, but not necessarily exactness from all of you on to what or how you would like the wording to be. So Mr. Flint and myself sat down and thought, let's give you a couple options. So that's what we have. So option 1A and 1B are basically to allow for the curb cut to go to property line, but with the caveat that if we'll need some sort of approval from utility companies to be any closer than 2 feet of those utilities. So again, you do have some utility companies that have stuff on property line, and kind of the conversation was we didn't want to affect or inflict issues upon them. Now, the difference between option 1A and 1B is 1B has, how do we describe where that curb cut could be? So there was some thoughts of maybe a way it's read or written, I should say, is a little confusing on describing the property line and how it goes. So originally, as you see, it talks about 4.5 feet from side lot line of a lot as it is projected to the back of the curb or gutter or roadway.
Steve,
Yes.
put the slide on it so we can see the options. All we're seeing is the Royce City on your screen.
So the first one is to leave that description, go to the side lot line as projected the back of the curb or gutter or roadway. And the other one is kind of to make it more user-friendly with words. So to take out the projected part and may go up to the side lot line as if the property line is extended to the back of the curb or gutter or roadway. So that's the only difference between 1A and 1B. Then when you go to option 2, again, the two options are very similar except for the wording of how.
Hey, Steve, on your
Yes.
screen, we're not able to see the actual verbiage of what you've got. It's in our packet, so we've got it there. But on the screen, we're just seeing the first Royce City page with the logo.
So you're
You're
seeing
not
the
seeing
last,
everything else?
just seeing the
No,
last.
just the first slide. Or the last one, I guess it is.
Okay, hold on a sec then. I'll stop sharing. Sometimes it's just not that much fun. Okay.
You're giving such a great presentation, too.
This would explain why Brody said to show it. And okay, so describe what you see.
I always see the Roy City logo, the first slide.
Does it have planning commission at the bottom?
Yes,
Okay, so if I do this, do you still see it?
yes.
Yes,
Now what do you see?
2 screens,
3.
3, I guess.
Oh, so you see,
Notes.
okay. How do we get out of all this?
Keep moving forward.
Well, I wanted to just show you the. Well, you're gonna have, you get this portion. No. No. Okay, well, you get 3 screens, so you see the next slide.
Yes.
Okay, well, this will have to do. I'll have to figure that out. Seemed to work last time. Anyway, so option 1A and 1B is you kind of, as I described it, but for those who are watching can kind of see what I described. Again, the difference is just how we describe that property line extending to the back of curb. Originally, it talked about projecting. Here, we're proposing just to change it to extending or extended. You see option 2A and 2B now?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay. So the difference on this one, again, is just that verbiage. We're taking out the 4.5 feet, but this time, this option is we don't talk or call out the concerns with the utilities like we did with option 1. So this is just keeping the language as it is, except for option 2B kind of has that change from projected to extended, but we don't talk about the utility boxes or utility companies' concerns. And then option 3 is just to remove it all. Again, it's a dramatic one that we didn't really talk about, but thought let's just give you an option there. Staff's recommendation is option 1B. So this option where we change the language from projected to the back to extended to the back, and with the need of the utility companies to give approval to be within 3 feet of their boxes or poles.
Okay, great. Thank you, Steve. Do we have any discussion needs to happen before we open public hearing?
I have one question for Steve.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just a little bit thick tonight, but can you explain the nuance between the projected and extended one more time, just so I make sure I'm clear on that?
It's really just to make it easier to read. When you look at it, just the first line, and it doesn't matter which option we go, but let's read option 1A, and we'll start with may go up to a side lot line of a lot as it is projected to the back of the curb. There was some confusion on what exactly does that mean, or what is that saying? So the thought was, if we change it to may go up to the side lot line if the property line is extended, rather than projected, even though they really are trying to say the same thing. We think that the extended instead of projected kind of gives a better description of what that is. Because as we know, property lines don't go to the back of the curb. So we have to kind of extend it out or project it out to where it would hit the curb.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Ryan?
It did, thanks.
Any other commissioners like to comment? Okay, that being said, hey, Steve, did we have anybody that wrote in that would like, that is wanting to speak at this public hearing?
Please open the public hearing before I answer that question.
Yes, sir. Okay, I need a motion to go into public hearing on this subject.
I make a motion that we open a public hearing.
Do you have a motion? Do we have a second?
I second.
Go ahead, Taurus.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now in public hearing. Okay, Steve. Do we have
No,
anybody?
I have not received any emails requesting to speak on this topic.
Okay, there being nobody to speak on this subject, we'll be looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are now out of public hearing. So on this subject, and we will now be, I believe we will be looking for a motion to approve or discussion. Is there any more discussion that we'd like to have? I guess I could start off. Me personally, I like option 1B. I think it does make it fairly clear for me in the way I read it. So that's my opinion. What's everybody else's opinion on this?
I
I
agree.
agree. I think we have to protect the utilities.
Yeah. And I agree, the extended, they kind of know where it is, where projected, someone's projections may go way off.
I agree.
Annette, you are muted.
Okay,
we
my
go.
question is, when it comes to the cul-de-sac exceptions, what kind of exceptions might possibly be coming up in that instance?
Well, those, again, as cul-de-sacs go, your property starts really small and skinny,
No, and then it
go
goes
out
up.
wider.
Okay.
A lot of the times, just a 2-car garage will take up 75–80% of the
Okay.
property width. The reason for the exception is I may have to allow it to go to property line just so they can get their, even the minimum, or, a 2-car garage. So that exception's there just for cul-de-sacs because they are unique. Things I do look at though on those is their utility box, more concerned with in the curb, but I still look at those things as well.
Thank you. Makes
Huh?
sense.
Any of the commissioners want to comment? Does everybody seem to like the 1B, or would you like to talk about another option?
I'm fine with 1B as it's written. It looks good to me.
Yeah, I like it too.
Okay, I'm not hearing any other discussions wanting to be talked about. So yes, on this one, we'll need this is the administrative item, so it won't be,
It's a legislative item.
not a legislative item. So, okay, we'll need a motion to, we'll be approving or recommending approval?
Recommending.
Recommending approval. All right, so we'll need a motion to recommend approval of option 1B.
I will make a motion that we approve option 1B of the proposed amendments to the Royce City Municipal Code, Title 10 zoning, regulations, Chapter 19, off-street parking and loading, amending 10-19-2, 8A2, access to parking, residential property drive approach, curb cut location to the property line, to meet what we've discussed here that's outlined in option 1B.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Nope.
Oh, it's going to be a
Roll call.
roll call.
Roll
huh?
call, because again, it is a legislative item, so
No, I misheard you. Okay. My apologies.
that's okay. Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mifflin,
Aye.
Commissioner Spar,
Aye.
Commissioner Cowley,
Aye.
Commissioner Brand,
Aye.
Commissioner Felt.
Aye.
Passes 6-0. Just so everybody knows who is watching, this item will be on next week's city council meeting on October 20th.
Great. Thank you, Steve. So we'll move to agenda item number 4, which would be Commissioner's Minute. Do we have any commissioners like to discuss any other topics at this time?
I would just like to congratulate Brody for writing in plain English instead of legalese.
Thank you, Brody.
How do you know I didn't write it?
I think you said you talked with Brody. And if you did
We're
write
paying
it,
attention.
if you did write it, hire an attorney.
Just to cover you.
Okay, any other comments? Discussion? Okay, with that being said, we'll move to agenda item number 5, which will be the staff update. Steve, is there any new news?
Well, general plan is still collecting comments online.
Good.
We'll be sending out an invite on Facebook to do it. So multiple people. I know that Glenda Moore has sent out an invite or two on Facebook for people to do that, but I will continue to collect comments on there. I know we have had several of them, so it's good. The mixed use ordinance will be finally discussed again with the council next week. Just kind of what the committee had changed from the public comments and council comments that we had received. It has taken a long time, but we felt that it was better to kind of go slowly to understand everything and to figure out how it should be written versus what was mentioned, and or how we can combine all, everything. So we'll discuss that. Then the council figure out if they want to go out to another public open house type thing, or if it's efficient enough to proceed, but at least it's still moving forward. Other projects that are underway, 7-Eleven there on Midland Drive in 4000 is getting pretty close to for occupancy, if not already. The townhomes across the street behind Maverick and that. The first 2 buildings are being occupied. I know we had some issues a couple weeks ago on some descriptions that were mislabeled and misrecorded, so we had to correct those for them. But they are proceeding forward. I think they pulled 4 more permits to build the next 4 buildings. So they're moving along, so that's exciting. Yeah.
Good.
Unless somebody else has a question on a project that we've recently reviewed, that's pretty much all I've got.
Any comments?
Where are we on the Franson Farm subdivision, Steve?
We're still reviewing their civil plans.
Okay.
Yeah, those, as Jason might be able to acknowledge, they take time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think we're on our 2nd review already, and when you submit for us to review it, we have 3 weeks to respond. And then they'll get comments, and it may take them a month or 2 to send them back. So it unfortunately does take time.
So certainly no building over there in the foreseeable future, maybe next year then.
Well, I'm not sure what foreseeable future means. Is that a month from now or 6
No,
months from now?
next year. Next year.
Yeah,
It probably
they'll-
won't be this year if it takes a couple months, right?
They'll probably start the construction of the road and curb gutter and sidewalk. I think they'll want to do it before winter hits,
Okay.
but
That
they
makes
can
sense.
proceed on. You probably won't get home start until February,
Kind of
March.
February. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Any other questions? It doesn't sound like any more questions. So with that being said, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the planning commission work session. No, this isn't a work session, is it? Sorry. On October 13th, 2020.
We've got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Stay safe out there.
Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.